Hello everyone, how's it going? It is Tyrannor as always, and I wanted to bring you another top whatever list. This time it is the top 9 premature deaths. Now, that is to say this is not a criticism of their deaths, it is just someone who died before their time. It does not necessarily mean that the story of the death or the story of that character sucked. In fact, on many of these the story actually benefits from the death. It just is someone who died, like I said, before their time. So without further ado, here we go. Number 9 on my list is the Nether Dragon Zeraku from the novel Night of the Dragon. Now, I just have to preface this, I am not a Richard Knack hater. I think some of his contributions to the Warcraft franchise have actually been pretty great stories, in addition to some other contributions which are, well, not as good. Night of the Dragon, to me at least, fell into the latter category, as I just found the book to be kind of boring. However, the one thing that did keep me going through the novel was the Nether Dragon Zeraku. Basically, many of the Nether Dragons were feral creatures, slaughtering innocents and plaguing the people of Outland, and Zeraku was no exception to this rule. When the Dark Portal was reopened, Zeraku was one of the Nether Dragons who went through it and was, in the process, captured by the Black Dragon matriarch Sinestra, who then used his energies to create the first Twilight Dragons. Now, at the same time, a Draenei priestess named Iridi was searching for Zeraku and hoped to redeem him, and, in my honest opinion, Zeraku's interactions with the heroes in the novel really propped this book up. Later on, near the climax of the book, the dragon is finally freed from his bonds and assists the good guys in fighting Sinestra's forces and in fighting the massive Twilight Dragon Dargonax. And in the end, in a final act of seeking redemption, Zeraku sacrifices his life to destroy Dargonax despite Iridi's protests, thus bringing him to a premature end before he had a chance to live an actually good and non-slaughtering all the living kind life. So yeah, the Nether Dragon Zeraku. Number 8 on my list is General Nazgrim. Now, pretty much everyone who played through Mists of Pandaria knows him. We also went through hell with him in Vashir, and he was also a minor character in the Grizzly Hills. Nazgrim was a Horde soldier who very quickly rose through the ranks, and his honor and skill were both unquestionable. Nazgrim, however, sided with Garrosh during the Darkspear Rebellion, even if he personally disagreed with the war chief, as his code of honor simply prevented him from taking any other course of action. He then dies during the Siege of Orgrimmar, loyal to the end, after a short but very dynamic military career, but also, I think, before he could have truly displayed his skills. So, General Nazgrim, the Horde really lost a great military mind that day, I think. Number 7 on my list is Vanessa Van Cleef. Now, this unfortunately falls on the really premature side of the premature deaths list. Vanessa was the daughter of Edwin Van Cleef, the former kingpin of the Defias Brotherhood, which is in itself an overall tragic and sad story. However, when Alliance adventurers come and put an end to Edwin's life, Vanessa sees everything from the shadows, including the adventurers cutting off Van Cleef's head. Nice going, guys. In the following years, she works from behind the scenes to quietly re-establish the Defias Brotherhood, while also pretending to be the adoptive daughter of the Saldean family. The Cataclysm questline in Westfall of the overstretched Kingdom of Stormwind being unable to care for its poor, and with Vanessa leading them to open rebellion, was one of the greatest, in my honest opinion, zone storylines of Cataclysm, and the new Defias story had a lot going for it, again in my honest opinion. Vanessa then plans to destroy Stormwind in much the same way as her father once planned, by building a massive battleship. But unfortunately, while the mechanics of her boss battle were definitely cool, she also meets a premature end, as adventurers just sort of kill her. I really think it would have been awesome if she survived that dungeon encounter and sort of in desperation joined the Twilight's Hammer, because let's face it, Vanessa's character is one of the ends justifying the means. But yeah, Vanessa Van Cleef, gone way too soon, at least for my tastes. Number 6 is Emperor Shao Hao. Now, no matter which version of the story you accept as canon, whether it be the Burdens of Shao Hao video series or the in-game information revealed through scrolls, Shao Hao's story is still one of a young, inexperienced emperor fighting for the survival of his very land. In fact, a much repeated theme in the video series was how he was supposed to have a long life and a prosperous realm, only for him to have to lay down his life way before his time in order to protect Pandaria from the Sundering, a sacrifice which is still respected by the Pandaren to this day. Number 5 is Kindy Sparkshine, the apprentice of Jaina Proudmoore in the novel Tides of War. Throughout the novel, the reader really grows attached to the little quirky gnome who had a really warm personality while also being eager to help in whatever way she could. Her death in the bombing of Thermore would have come as a shock if we didn't know of the city's destruction beforehand, but Christy Golden nonetheless manages to perfectly portray the emotion that her teacher Jaina feels when she sees the gnome's ultimate fate. Kindy receives an homage later in the novel from her father, who lights the lamps of Dalaran in her image, and her death ultimately pushes Jaina away from her pacifistic ways and into one of more open hostility towards the Horde. Number 4 on my list is Valstan Staghelm, the son of Fandral Staghelm. His death took place during the War of the Shifting Sands fought between the Night Elves and the Kiraji, and though we don't know that much about Valstan himself, his death and its impact is very much made clear throughout his father's story. During the war, Valstan sought his father's approval to lead relief forces to a heavily besieged town on the front lines, and marched filled with the stereotypical hope and ambition of youth. Later on in the story, we see the colossal Kiraji general approach Fandor's encampment, having impaled his son and crushed the Night Elven forces. His death proved to be the breaking point for Fandor, who, while not immediately apparent, became obsessed with bringing his son back, to the point of even growing the new world tree, Teldrassil, and allying himself first with the Emerald Nightmare and then with Ragnaros the Fire Lord in his quest. While Fandral was not the most likable character in the first place, the death of his son really puts his actions in a new light, while also providing a great tragic moment for the character. Number 3 is Queen Tiffin Ryn, the mother of Anduin and the wife of Varian. While we don't know much about her per se, and she's not a main character in any story, she still had, and even now has, an impact on the two aforementioned characters. Tiffin belonged to the minor nobility of Stormwind before she married Varian, a marriage which was stated to be a very happy and a very popular one. While the worker population of Stormwind was about to revolt against what they saw as the tyrannical nobility, Queen Tiffin was always seen as the one who brought the two sides together, loved by the common people and respected by the nobles alike. During one of the final riots in the city, she is accidentally hit by a stray rock, which wounds up killing her, a death which had a massive impact on Varian's character, and even on Anduin, who didn't know her much outside of his early childhood, came to love and respect her deeply. And even after she died, her memory wound up reconciling the father and the son following their disagreements. So, yeah, Queen Tiffin Ryn. Number 2 on my list is Liam Greymane, the son of Genn Greymane. While Genn was often portrayed as being stubborn and often preferring that Gilneas remain isolated from the rest of the world, Liam profoundly disagreed with his father, a position which would arguably be proven right later on. When the curse of the Worgen fully strikes Gilneas, Liam is seen fighting on the front lines, and overall proving that he would be a great successor to the aging Genn Greymane. Despite this, he believed that his father had the strength and will to lead his people, and after the two reconciled, Liam fully supported him and accepted the fact that Genn himself had been cursed. Liam is then one of the commanders in the Battle of Gilneas City against the Forsaken, and succeeds in retaking much of the city in a heroic struggle. Finally, however, Sylvana Swindrudder herself appears and prepares to kill his father with a poisoned arrow, which Liam takes in order to save Genn. Liam would have become a great king of Gilneas in my honest opinion, truly embodying the strength and conviction of his father, while also being willing to compromise. His heroic sacrifice came to haunt Genn later on, but nonetheless steeled his conviction in the struggle against the Forsaken. And number 1 is...
Rise up, sons of the Horde! Blood and glory await us! Tarlgar! For the Horde!
I was wondering if you'd show up.
I couldn't let the Alliance have all the fun today.
Number 1 is Draenor Saurfang, also known as Saurfang the Younger. We first meet him in Burning Crusade in the Grand, eager to avenge an orc village which had been slaughtered by a broken Draenei tribe. Later he decides that he wants to join the Horde and his father and takes part in the campaign in Northrend. He's placed in charge of the Kor'kron Vanguard, the corps that was supposed to be the part of the final assault on the Lich King at the Wrathgate itself. He dies during the battle when he single-handedly tries to defeat the Lich King, only to be resurrected by him and become one of his strongest Death Knights. The following interaction in Icecrown Citadel between the father and the son on the Horde side, or when Varrock comes to take his body on the Alliance side, is, in my opinion, one of the greater emotional moments of Wrath of the Lich King. Saurfang the Younger embodied everything a young orc would aspire to be, and was actually Thrall's first choice to replace him as War Chief before his untimely death. He had the strength and courage expected of an orc, which was also tempered by a wisdom and a great sense of honor. And this brings us to the end of top 9 premature deaths. As always, remember that the list is entirely subjective and is simply my opinion, and I look forward to hearing yours in the comments. Until then, I'll see you all later.